So great to have you both here. So Sean Douglas is my name. I work with BiOrbic, the National Bioeconomy Research Centre in Ireland. So as part of Bioeconomy Ireland Week, we're delighted to have Niamh and Ruairi Dooley here from Biasol. So it's great to see homegrown Irish talent and innovation working in the bioeconomy sector, and looking forward very much to hearing about the great work that you're doing and tackling climate change through your product. So just to introduce Niamh, Niamh manages the daily business of Biasol and the operations. So extensive experience in hospitality and cooking and nutritional education and food science. So I guess the Biasol is, it's the culmination of all that expertise, Niamh. And Ruairi, as a self-professed business nerd, manages the finances and admin sales side. So strong background in IT and finance. So am I right in saying, Ruairi, you'd be behind the scenes kind of?
Yeah, I did all these things.
He's the numbers guy.
Excellent. So lovely to meet you, and we're looking very much forward to hearing about Biasol and your innovative product. So take it away.
Perfect. Thanks, Sean. So I'm Ruairi.
And I'm Niamh Dooley, and together we're the brother and sister founding team of Biasol, and we're here to tell you about our business and how we're helping to grow the circular economy. So we as a race are facing several alarming problems. The population is expected to reach 9.8 billion, increasing food demand by 60%. 1/3 of all food produced ends up as waste. And 75% of the Irish adult population does not meet the recommended daily allowance for fibre. And fibre has been proven to reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, IBS, colon cancer, to name a few. So this paradox of our food systems producing more waste than ever, yet still not providing adequate nutrition, demonstrates the need for innovation. So our solution, it's straightforward. We collect brewer's spent grain, which is the byproduct of the brewing process, and we transport that to our facility where we repurpose it into nutritious and delicious food products. So I'm just going to play a short video as we were featured on Open for Business, and it'll explain a little bit more of what we do. Hi Ruairi, how's it going? Myself and my brother, who's my business partner, he was living in Melbourne, and I unfortunately lost my job due to COVID. So we both came together and decided to work on a sustainable food project. Biasol creates innovative food solutions. Our first product to launch is BrewFlour. BrewFlour is made from repurposing brewer's spent grain into a baking flour. I collect spent grain from local craft breweries and I bring it to Ferban Food Campus. I dehydrate the grain and mill it into a flour that is really high in fibre, high in protein, and has a unique malt and nutty flavour. We have a growing population globally. On top of that, we're wasting 1/3 of our food. Here at Biasol, we have a motto: create taste, reduce waste. I think there's exciting days ahead for myself and my brother to work together and create a company that is striving towards a zero waste future. So just moving on from that, our value proposition. So why are customers excited about our product or purchasing our product? Number one is taste. As I mentioned, it has that unique malt and nutty flavor profile. And then number two, as we mentioned in the video, we're collecting a raw material that's already been used in the food chain, and we're bringing it back in for a second time, which is completing the closed loop circle. And then in terms of nutrition, our products are really high in fiber and also high in protein. And then they're also price competitive in relation to other baking ingredients and health food products that are currently on the market.
So as Niamh mentioned, and as you've seen in the video, we've been working on our product range, and our first product was BrewFlour, which was it for wholesale and in the B2B space. So chefs and bakers are currently buying light and dark malt BrewFlour. So the light BrewFlour essentially comes from your pale ales and your lagers, and your dark coming from more of your stouts. So you've quite a different kind of color, and then you've a little different in the taste palette as well, in terms of the flavors that the grains offer. So the feedback from chefs and bakers on this product is amazing. They just absolutely love the flavor that they're adding to their recipes, and the fact that they can tell a more sustainable and a circular economy story to their customers is what they really like. Our latest product is for the everyday consumer, which we've launched on our website, and we are launching soon in retail. So this product is called Super Mill Grains, and we've identified a particular grain from one of the breweries that has very high levels of fiber. It's high in protein, contains prebiotics and rich mineral content, including calcium, zinc, iron, magnesium. With Super Mill grains, you don't have to be a master chef or a master baker. You just add 1 tablespoon into, say, your porridge in the morning, and your smoothies, your protein shake, your soups, and any home baking you might do. So it's quite versatile. And in that 1 tablespoon that you add in, you're getting 10% of your RDA of fiber straight away. So our journey so far, we started this year really with our first product, BrewFlour, and we started talking to experts in the industry, in the food service industry. So we were lucky enough to work with expert chefs and bakers to validate our idea and ensure that the products that we were launching were high quality, and that enabled us to keep growing and finding the retail product so that everybody can use, which is, as I've mentioned, is launched now on our website, and will hopefully be in Super Value near you in the new year soon. So the next steps for Biasol, we're aware that brewer's spent grain is a highly available and abundant resource that's full of nutrition. Our goal is to educate and grow awareness of this resource, and help bring it into everybody's lives to improve nutrition and the circular economy. We want to promote zero waste. So for ourselves, we're looking at innovating around packaging that can help achieve that. We work with businesses, breweries, and that to educate them and work together, collaborate, and keep growing and promoting zero waste in this country. And we have a range of new products coming soon, some that we've already worked on and are in trials that coming from brewer's spent grain. And then the goal for Biasol long term is to look at other byproducts that are available in Ireland today, and see if we can find something that, just like brewer's spent grain, is highly nutritious and is thought of as a waste, and we can change the mindset on that. Thanks for listening to us today, and if there's any questions, we're happy to ask them.
Excellent, thanks guys, folks. That's great. Yeah, as you say, fantastic to learn about your product. And yeah, sorry to hear that. I suppose the COVID situation, in your job situation, Niamh,
like a lot of others. Well, yeah. Less this, so I can't do too much.
And did you find, I suppose, I think at the start of the lockdowns, you'd hear people saying, "Oh, I can't make banana bread anymore. I just can't do it." Did you find there was a lot of people saying, a lot of people baking, a lot of people going to home baking? So did you find, people looking for Biasol BrewFlour to bake?
Yeah, I think our BrewFlour at the start, that's been a bit of a journey, as we kind of alluded to, but when we launched that for home baking, to try and learn and validate, we quickly understood that the BrewFlour itself is complex to use, and and that's why we've dedicated that product into wholesale. So for people in the food service industry that have the time and the expertise on how to work with it. For example, it's quite low in gluten. It's so when we did our first experiment with it, nothing worked because we just thought it was regular flour, which it's not. And then over time we've worked with bakers and chefs to understand it's more of an additive or an ingredient rather than a like for like substitute in flour.
Okay, and can you use it for baking? We have a question here. Can you use it for? Is it more like savory or sweet baking? What can you make?
Yeah, we've definitely done both experiments with both. We had recently done a really nice cookie, more like a cookie cake, and we've used both the light and dark flour, and it works well in sweet. But then we've chefs and bakers that are using it for, they make pasta, and they've made crackers, and they made pizza bases. So it can definitely work in savory and sweet.
Great. Yeah, because I'd imagine the low gluten, gluten-free things, I think I've actually tasted, the breads and the pizza bases. Well, the breads in particular are kind of, I don't know, quite different, shall we say, to regular, things that have gluten in it. So it'd be interesting to see, what that's like. Can you use it for milkshakes? Just when you said malty, I was thinking of malt milkshakes.
It works really well in that. Like if you wanted just to get say a quick hit of fiber in your day, that's where the super milk grain product works well. So dump a tablespoon in your glass of milk, give it a stir, and then drink it, and you'll get that malty, milky flavor, which it works really well.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, the old milkshakes. I don't know if that's a good thing. And just when you said the light and the dark malt, is that all? Can you make bread with it, or is it hard to make with the low gluten?
Well, yeah, I suppose it's not difficult. It's just getting the ratios right. So what we found is you'd only add between 10 and 15% of our flour into, say, your regular recipe. Because it's quite high in fiber, it will kind of suck up your wet ingredients a little bit more than usual. So if you just increase the wet ingredients slightly as well, you should be able to make a nice loaf with a nice malt flavor through it.
So one of the chefs that's been trialing, she's Italian, and she got the light flour into brioche buns, like for burger buns. So and some of even the breweries like Dead Center here in Athlone are quite interested here that if they're serving burgers, they could use the bread made from their grain, and ourselves and some other bakeries have done like a traditional soda bread with the dark, and the color of the bread it's just such a deep wholesome color from adding in the dark malt grains.
Great. And I see your targeted craft breweries. Are you kind of targeting larger breweries as well?
I think we're going to partner with the small independent Irish craft breweries. And I think I just seen a question come in there about the waste. So the larger, say, breweries, as in Diageo or Heineken, they're going to have long-standing contracts with farmers. So you can actually feed the grain to cattle and pigs. But we're working with the smaller breweries because sometimes if a farmer doesn't come to collect the grain can go basically turn bad, and it you cause animals to be sick, so they wouldn't take it away. And if that happens, then it is going to landfill, so it is a waste then. So that's kind of the problem we're trying to solve for the smaller breweries right now. But the larger ones are kind of have their solution in place already.
Yeah, it's that's great. I mean, that's great to hear. I suppose me being selfish, I prefer to have something that's highly nutritious going to people first, where possible.
Well, I think that's the journey we're on, is to it's easy to start small, start local, spread the word and the message, and one day, who knows, we could be up in Diageo with Guinness and taking all their grain. That's the dream.
Yeah, and tell me what's next. I'm looking forward to seeing is it the super mill grains that'll be in Super Value next year?
Yeah, will be at some stage. We've got it in local health food stores in the Midlands at the minute, and we are spreading out. So we're working on an updated design for retail. So definitely from January, February, it'll be starting to spread across the country.
Great. And yeah, I suppose tell me about the whether new products you kind of mentioned. Are you able to give us a hint on what could be coming down the tracks? Or
well, we wanted to get into a ready to kind of eat or convenience food that is healthy, and our products can work in, so that's what we're thinking. We've done a little bit of research on that, but
that's difficult to work with, and I think that's why a lot of convenience foods are quite bad nutrition, say that they maybe are marketed as healthy, but I suppose we're working hard to make sure that what we do put out is genuinely a healthy, convenient product. So yeah, that's the space we can see ourselves going into next. There might be some sort of drink or something. We'll see. Maybe some milkshakes.
We don't want to give too much away, Sean.
Exactly.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. But yeah, just that you mentioned like the high fiber, high protein prebiotics as well. I have those little tablets in the fridge. They take the prebiotics, which are good. But having something that it's incredible that it's kind of, I guess, given to farm animals. That's something that is that nutritious. So that's it's great.
The big eye opener for me is what I hear about customers that are like in the Midlands that are buying super mill grains already, is like they can't really believe that it's so good for them, and the fact it tastes good. So that people are used to adding like psyllium husks and things like that are really, really awful, that have no flavor, and they have to force them into their body, where this actually gives it a nice malty flavor to some, and it's good. So that's kind of where people are liking here.
Yeah. And is there nutrition kind of health benefits, say in terms of cholesterol or that you're aware of?
Well, I suppose with by increasing your fiber, you can definitely reduce cholesterol. So I suppose we're only, I think, eating about 3, 4, 5 grams of fiber per day, but we need to be up in that 30-35 gram mark. So we're falling well below. And I think that's why these problems, as I mentioned at the start, like they're so prevalent now. But I think the best way to tackle it is to really start eating whole foods again and getting the fiber in. The easiest way to get it in right now is super mill grains, but definitely well balanced diet with like fruit and veg. That would definitely help.
Great. Yeah, no, that's good. I suppose it's like that One Health. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's like what's good for us is good for the planet. And yeah, it's good for the environment, and good for you guys, good for the company as well. So we have a question there, just in terms of the business model. I guess maybe a kind of behind the scenes kind of question. Are the brewers, do you pay them to take the waste, or are they like, oh, thanks so much for taking it?
So starting off, no, they're more than happy to just give it to us, because like we're lucky that the breweries kind of like, when we told them our vision and what we wanted to do, they bought in straight away, and they wanted to be part of the story. So they were just like, yeah, take it and let's grow this together. So we wouldn't be here without the local craft breweries that we're working with. But look, we're not silly to think that it's going to be free forever. As we start adding value to the grain and putting it back into human food chain, that the cost will go up. So it'll still be nominal, and we've had early discussions with them. So it'll be a nominal cost, maybe in comparison to the cost maybe to remove the grain from their site anyway. So it should never be expensive.
Yeah. And is there any other grains you're looking at, or any other I guess I'm just thinking of my dad. I remember he got hops before from Guinness, and he used it for gardening. But I'm thinking of, as a food scientist, Niamh, I'm sure there's so many different types of grains that I wouldn't have even heard of.
Yeah, I suppose we might look into distillers grain next and do some NPD on that. But obviously taking byproducts away is our number one goal. So whatever grains are left in that byproduct, like we'll work with them and we'll do tests on them and see what kind of nutrients are left.
Yeah. And how long did that process take, to kind of, because you say it's high fiber, high protein, was that difficult to kind of find that out from that kind of nutrient profile?
Probably 9 months, 10 months before we could even say had a product or anything. It was a lot of, well, I won't say I was doing it. Niamh's the food scientist, so Niamh was reading the white papers, but and that's kind of started us off. And then I suppose the cycle, then we have to look at a grain, make sure it, like, to us, from what's involved in terms of the actual grains involved, and then Niamh takes it away to get it done in a lab. So you're talking like for each grain, there's probably a month, 6 weeks, just from saying, okay, is this something that we can work with? And there's a cost involved in that too. So we've looked at so many different ones now, but I think it was from that kind of hard work and research that we're able to get some products out in the market now, because we're confident that we can continue to consistently supply them.
Great. And I suppose what's next for you guys? I know you did mention new products, but what's next for Biasol itself? Are we going to see on?
We've changed from the video, haven't we?
Oh yeah, I suppose we were in for Van Food Campus, and that was great. We had a space to do all that validation, as Rory said, and testing. But we've signed a new lease in a new premises, so we're expanding in that way, which is great. It's been a lot of manual labor the last 2 weeks, but besides that, I think we're looking at growing the team next, really, and get more people on the ground and really grow this thing properly.
Great.
So if there's any students in UCD that wants to potentially do an internship or something like that, we're all ears. So we'll leave that one in your capable hands, Sean.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, look, there's a lot of foodies. We work in the agri-food, and marine and forestry sectors. So that's our focus, I guess, the food sector as a whole. But look, it's great to see kind of Irish innovation and homegrown innovation, but that has a product that's very, very nutritious, but also good for the environment, and tackling the food waste issue, which is a big, it's a big issue. Listen, thanks so much. I'm just going to stop recording here.